So KD got injured again. Now, luckily, it's not as serious. It was like a knee contusion or a thigh contusion. It's day to day. It's not as serious as, of course, ACL or meniscus or whatever like that. So that's good. But Steve Nash said something, and of course, media pundits have been talking about it all week. Steve Nash pretty much said we may not get our entire team to play together at all this season. Um, of course, we know that Brooklyn they pretty much they got some hitters. They got KD, they got Kyrie, they got James Harden, and those three all together, I think, have only played 7 games together. Now, I think they're 6-1 or 7-0 in those games together, but they've only played 7 games together, and of course, that's not including DeAndre Jordan or Blake Griffin. So the question comes up: does chemistry really matter? Does chemistry really matter when we talk about winning a championship? Can you just roll out a team full of great players and win? And there are so many examples of why chemistry really does matter. And it doesn't matter if you have the best team. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have the best players. Chemistry is incredibly important. For instance, I'll give you some examples. Let's look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I understand. I hear people saying, "But Jay, look at all those great players. You got Tom Brady." I understand that. But do you remember the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the beginning of last season, when they were getting smacked by the Saints and getting smacked by all these teams because they were building that they didn't have any chemistry. There was no offseason. They still were learning each other. Look at that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team in the beginning of the season and look at the one that won the championship and how they were firing all cylinders. That is chemistry. That is a team that understands who they are. That's a team that built chemistry. Look at the LA Lakers. The beginning of the season, they weren't that good. I mean, you had LeBron and AD, but they were still trying to learn each other. You brought in Dwight. Like they didn't know how to play with each other, and they were losing games that they shouldn't have lost. When you get to the end, and of course after the pandemic, but you get to the end, that team was firing on all cylinders. AD knew exactly what Bron wanted to do. Bron knew exactly what AD wanted to do. That's built chemistry. Hell, I can go on a bigger scale. Look at Team USA, the one that they didn't win anything. I think they won like maybe bronze or something. The one that recently, had Donovan Mitchell, Harrison Barnes, had them. They didn't have any chemistry, and it showed. They didn't. They got smacked by teams they shouldn't have got. Hell, nobody expects Team USA to go anywhere and lose, but they couldn't win because they couldn't build chemistry. You put all these great players, all these players in, and again, I understand that there was a lot that opted out. Like, I understand that. But you put all these great players on one team, that doesn't ultimately mean that you're going to win win it all. Again, Team USA lost like Serbia. And again, I understand they played against good players, but they shouldn't have lost. Another example, the Clippers. The Clippers are going to the Clippers last year is going through the same thing that Brooklyn's doing. You bring in great players, but because of injury, because of load management, they all don't play together. So when you place them in the playoffs, and again, I understand that there was different circumstances, but when you place the Clippers in the playoffs, they don't know how to play again. Paul George doesn't get a feeling what Kawhi Leonard wants to do. Kawhi Leonard doesn't get a feeling what Montrezl Harrell wants to do. Montrezl Harrell doesn't get a feeling what Paul George wants to do. Paul George doesn't get a feeling what Lou Williams want to do. So it's like you have all these players, and then they end up losing to Denver. So I say all that to say, yes, chemistry is more important than having great players. Hell, the reason why, now again, I understand you had Clay and Curry and Draymond Green, but one big reason why Golden State won in 2015 and 16 was 2014-15, I believe. That's the year before 73-9. Was because they had so much chemistry at the end of the year that they now. And I also understand Kyrie got hurt. I understand uh, Kevin Love got hurt, but that Golden State team was firing on all cylinders when we talk about chemistry. KD, I mean no, Curry knew exactly what Clay wanted to do and what Draymond Green. Draymond Green knew exactly what Harrison Barnes wanted to do and Moise Spates. Like, chemistry matters, and I say all that to say this: it's starting to get a little concerning that not only does the best players on Brooklyn continue to get hurt, but they haven't played together. And again, I'm not saying that they're not good enough to make it to the finals. I'm not saying that they couldn't win, because they still could. I mean, they do have relationships off the court, like KD, Kyrie, and James are pretty much best friends, but it is getting a little concerning that you're seeing teams like the Heat. You're seeing teams like Milwaukee. You're seeing, of course, the Lakers and stuff. These teams have built they've built chemistry, and you're going up against a team. While on paper, Brooklyn is far better than anyone on paper, but chemistry-wise, they haven't played with each other. So while some people would say, "Oh no, it's a lock that they're going to win a championship," that's not a lock. While I think that they're good enough to win, they do need that chemistry. They do need to play alongside each other and understand. While I can be best friends with somebody, it's like this. You can be best friends with somebody, but you don't know how somebody lives until you live with the person. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that they need to get back on the court. But again, there's only 15 games left in the season, I believe. So I don't know. It's very rare that you see a team that just compiles stars and just win off the brink. While hell, and a lot of people say, but what about the Toronto team? Well, Toronto team had all the chemistry in the world. They just needed one superstar, and they got it in Kawhi Leonard. Not to mention, Golden State just broke down at the end. So I just, it's starting to concern me. Again, I'm glad that it's not serious. The injury is not serious with KD, and it is just day to day, so it's not like life altering or anything. But it is getting a little concerning that their entire team has not played with each other at all. There's not been a game. Let me say this. I don't know if that's true, but I know that they haven't played more than like 3 games where their entire team, which is KD, Kyrie, James Harden, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, Landry Shamet, Joe Harris. There's not a game where they all have played together. And of course, LaMarcus Aldridge being there definitely was a wrench in it as well. And it also hurts that now he's out. So you were trying to learn him. He's out now. So somebody else has to get back in the rotation. So it's definitely concerning. And it's definitely something to watch out for. And I can attest that injuries and chemistry can and probably will, if they don't win, can and will be the reason that Golden State does not win. I mean, not Golden State. I'm sorry. The Brooklyn Nets does not win. Chemistry and injuries. And or injuries. So